Okay, is it rolling, Bob? Okay, I think we're recording this. I wanted to show my friends and family the damage, the healing. I had surgery right here, right on this hand, the beginning of the hand and the wrist. It hurts a lot, especially when I turn, but I can move my fingers more now. I'm supposed to do that like 10 minutes at a time every hour. Sometimes painful. When I first came out of the hospital, I couldn't feel anything, and they were swollen almost twice this. At least a good third more than this, about a third more, maybe half more. But I would just take and try to circulate the blood, just go up and down the fingers like this, and I would bend them myself, just kind of bend them so that hopefully they wouldn't be as much hurting later. So anyway, that's kind of what I'm doing with that. And then for the first 48 hours, I had to keep it elevated all the time to help the swelling. And then now I keep it up when I'm not using it too much. But this is part one. I just wanted to show you the progress on the guitar. Got a nice teacup for Christmas. I think from Ben and Stephanie. So I got my tea at night. But what I can do is start and show you. This is part one. I'm going to show you a little progress on that, and I'm still going to sing a couple of songs even though I can't play the guitar. So let's go over here. Hello. This is the new saddle that I had to get. When we left off, my bridge goes in here with the cone. That whole thing's called the cone, and the top is called a spider bridge. This is kind of generic one, so it's not going to, this is my first work on this, so it's not going to sound near as good. I think the whole thing was like 65 bucks, and for good ones you pay 65 bucks for each part. The cone, the saddle bridge, the tailpiece, anything else. It's all better made, better quality products and stuff. But if you recall, this top goes down on it. What I was supposed to do was measure from the bottom of the bridge to the top of this bar that goes across to underneath it, to the top underneath, so it would be the underneath top. Measure that and then cut it down 1/8 of an inch, and that would be where you cut the saddle. This is the saddle. This is made of maple, and it's got some slopes on it so that you can put the strings where they need to be for what they call intonation, which is tuning your guitar. So I bought this one. It's maple, and it's already got some of that cut. I was trying to cut the other one myself, which it's a nice thing that this is already cut for you. So I just might have to adjust it a little bit, do some sanding here and there. Like right now, it won't even fit in. The saddle doesn't go all the way down to the bottom, so that's something I can do with one hand. I can sand, put some sandpaper down with some double-sided tape and sand the bottom of this and the sides and try to get it in. So that's going to go there, and it's sloped for the intonation, for tuning the guitar. You put all the strings back on, and then you put the top on and all that, and the pressure of the strings drops that cone, just drops it. That's why I cut my first saddle way too low, because I put the strings on. I'm like, man, I don't want the action, which is how high the strings are above the fretboard and the frets. I don't want that action to be too high, but I'm just going to have a high action, which really doesn't matter because I'm going to play it with a slide anyway. But I was just thinking, oh, that's going to be way too much. So I cut the first saddle way down, thinking I was smarter than the teachers on my luthier YouTube channels, because after all, this is my first one, so I know a bunch of stuff, right? Anyway, I figured I needed to cut it down pretty low to keep the action right. Well, once I put the pressure of the strings on, boom, everything dropped, just dropped. So it was buzzing real bad, and long story shorter, that's where I'm at with this thing. I need to replace the saddle, and I'll have to sand it and cut it to where it fits in the bridge. And then I got to do the measurements cut it down, sand it a little bit, put the strings on, see how it works. Okay, it's going to be really hard to do most of that with one hand, so a lot of that's going to wait. I'll do the little bit that I can, here and there. But this is part one, so I did want to say I'll show you a little bit more on the guitar in a minute. I am going to sing a song, because while I'm not able to play the guitar, I'm still able to thank the Lord that I can sing some songs. And I was looking through my Bible, been reading a lot, and so as I'm reading through my Bible, I see little notes of where some of the songs we used to sing at church and at the park and in little ministry groups and men's groups, and some, passing out Bible tracts. And when I was jamming with my friends, just playing some bluegrass and folk music and some, songs by the Poco and Beatles and all that kind of groovy stuff, Merle Haggard. Anyway, I found a couple of songs. One that I wrote is in Isaiah 26, verses 3 and 4, and I can prove to you I wrote it. I wrote it in my Bible. It was Christmas, 1983. Christmas of 1983. I don't know if that's going to show up later on the video very well. I might be too close. Christmas 1983. And the song's called Perfect Peace. It says, "Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, because he trusts in thee. Trust ye in the Lord forever, for in the Lord Jehovah's everlasting, everlasting joy, everlasting peace, everlasting love." So that's Isaiah 26, 3 and 4. Trust ye in the Lord forever, for in the Lord Jehovah is everlasting, everlasting strength. So I'm praying for strength to return in 3 or 4 months, I hope. I think Shaq's recovery time has been closer to 6 months, so I don't know. His surgery might have been deeper. This is pretty bad, but 3 or 4 months from now I'll know if I can do a little bit more. Probably 6 months is going to be a pretty average for actually kind of getting to where you're getting plus or minus 80% of your strength back, I would think. So that's Isaiah. I wanted to read a verse in Isaiah about this time in my life, because who knows what could happen. All kinds of things could change. But a long time ago, I've heard a lot of sermons and messages about giving your life and giving things in your life to the Lord. And it's like giving your pineapples to God. And it comes from a whole neat story about a missionary guy. And you can look it up and find it. It's about a missionary. And there was a trial that he went through with people stealing his pineapples, the natives, that he was supposed to be loving in the name of Jesus and sharing the love of God. And that kind of changed a little bit when they started stealing his pineapples. So he had to learn to give those things to the Lord and leave them in his hands. So right now, I've got to put all this in the Lord's hands, including our plans to go out to Oklahoma. Everything's just, it's in the Lord's hands, His timing, But thou will keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. So the verse in Isaiah is Isaiah 43:18, and it says, "Remember not the former things." "Remember not the former things, nor consider the things of old. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? I will make a way into," of course, the new thing that God did is the new covenant through Christ with the Jews, and we are grafted in to that tree. We're a wild olive branch grafted into the planted olive branch. Never forget that. He has a place, a time, and a commitment to the Jewish nation and to Jews who get saved. They become Messianic Jews. They're not saved just by being a nation, but the nation will be saved. So think about that. But anyway, he says, "Remember not the former things, nor consider the things of old. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it?" Messiah, Yeshua HaMashiach. I will make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. The wild beasts will honor me, and the jackals and the ostriches, for I give water in the wilderness, rivers in the desert. So that's what he's doing with us, making a new way. I retired a few years ago, and God's been blessing us here. It's been a blessing to be here in this part of our life for the last 4 years, but we're moving on. Things are changing. I had no idea this was going to be part of it. But there's another song that I wanted to sing real quick here in part 1, and it's where's that one? Oh, it's not the dad one. It's my binge Jesus. It's a song that says we used to sing years ago. So this is the last one for part 1. It says Psalm 46. God is our refuge and our strength, a very present help in times of trouble. God is our refuge and our strength, a very present help in times of trouble. God is our refuge and our strength, very present help in times of trouble. Okay, well, that's about as much as I can do right now. I need to take a break and go elevate this arm. And so that is Matt's Kitchen, coming from Matt's Kitchen, and that is part 1. And let me find my, yep, here we go. Alright, you guys, give your pineapples to the Lord. Ouch. Here we go. Give your pineapples to the Lord.